and those that had only a temporary windfall. One of our next guests says that yesterday's performance during the sell-offs shows which has staying power. Names like Zoom, Netflix, Wayfair, Amazon, all in the green yesterday, compared to the temporary winners like Match. Really? Match? I guess so. You can't. Okay, I got it. Domino's, Peloton, and Sherwin-Williams join us now as that guest. Greg Branch, partner at 1847 Financial. Also with us, as well as Joe Terranova, chief market strategist at Virtus Investment Partners and a CNBC contributor. And the thing I've noticed about stay at home with you, Joe, is you got very offended when I said one time I said something about that pelt that you have. And now I like it much better, growing out a little bit. I like it much better. I just let you know. I'm going to let you think about that, Joe, for a second. And I'll go to Greg. Greg, you've been expecting some of these changes, and I guess the gap between stay-at-home or growth in value to narrow, and you still expect that to happen, although it's maybe happening more slowly.
I do, and let me state unequivocally, particularly if we see another spike, these companies are all going to put up spectacular third quarters and spectacular fourth quarters. So what I'm looking at is a little bit longer term, right? And we saw this play out in 2010 to 2012. When we start to focus on calendar year 2021, which we will after this election, investors are going to look where the earnings growth is coming from. And just as happened in 2010 to 2012, in that time period, tech underperformed, growth underperformed as the traditional sectors outgrew them. Consensus is expecting in 2021 that areas outside of tech will grow 35% next year, while tech names will grow 15%. And so it'll be time to start looking and separating those that have experienced a secular or a structural shift from those that were temporary in nature. And you'll look and you'll divide your winners into three buckets. Those that are going to return to a 2019 baseline, those that have a higher baseline but aren't going to grow the triple digits next year that we're going to see some consumer discretionaries or financials. And then that last bucket will be those that experience that structural or secular shift and are still poised to put up 300% or so earnings growth like the e-retailers.
Yeah, and those are the ones, okay, in the last basket that could grow the quickest. Joe, just looking at your notes, would you say that we are in what I think that the market remains near-term vulnerable? So you're not constructive right now, near-term? You think that we got more to go, more September blues type stuff to go?
Yeah, I think the market has vulnerability in the near term. I think longer term, whoever the president will be, the S&P will exceed 3,600. So keep that in mind, long-term constructive. But clearly, Joe, what's happened is we've had 5 consecutive months that we've moved higher. And when you climb 5 giant steps and you run, you really don't climb. It's okay to rest on the top step. And when you're resting on the top step, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to reach for a nice bottle of water. And if you think about it, growth and Apple and mega cap growth, Microsoft, that's your bottle of water. You're not going to reach for those sugary Coke or Pepsi, which is really the travel and leisure stock. So I thought yesterday was a very good sign late in the day that you had the recovery from Apple. I'd be watching Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, Salesforce again today. That's where you're going to find stability in the market.
The old adage is you can give a price target or a time frame, but never give both. So 3,600. I mean, what's your time frame on that? It depends. You said it doesn't matter who gets elected. You mean 3,600 in the next 12 months, or the next 12 years?
No, I think we'll get it quick. Well, no, not in the next 12 years. I think we'll get it very quickly within the next 3 months. Okay. But, what's interesting is I hear everyone come on the network, Joe, and say, this is a healthy correction. Well, what exactly does that mean? A healthy correction or normal correction is not just a price correction where we quickly snap back like we did in August in 2015. A healthy correction is a price and a time correction. So it's actually okay for the markets for the month of September and maybe for the coming weeks until earnings to kind of chop and move in a sideways pattern. That's more healthy than these violent snapbacks that we're getting in the marketplace over the last couple of years, and I don't think are fully indicative of the right type of behavior that allows markets to recover.
You know what snapback scares me, Joe, is it was I guess it was about 8 weeks, maybe 6, 8 weeks. Remember that? We had made a lot of progress, and then we had a 1,900-point day. Remember that one? That's where you wonder whether things can just recalibrate quickly based on COVID. And we haven't seen that. That's what I say. 500, Greg,
No.
I can do 500 in my sleep, sort of. But the other one is what scares me, when the VIX, spikes. Do you expect that, Greg, that something like that could happen, given, I'm reading that everyone went to Croatia. All the Europeans went to Croatia. Now they're like a diaspora with the COVID back in Europe. I mean, are there true concerns about that? And could it happen here?
I think there are. We're building a poo-poo platter of uncertainties, right? So, we were worried about a second spike. We are worried about whether or not we're going to get the stimulus that we need to continue to power job growth and consumer confidence. Now we're worried about attention being deflected to a Supreme Court nominee. And so instead of taking care of risks and taking things off our plate, we're adding uncertainty to our plate. And, the market does not like increased uncertainty. So I expect things to continue to be volatile up until the election. Not to mention, we're now worried about whether or not there'll be a resolution to the election before Thanksgiving. But, as these concerns come off, we'll see a lot more normalcy in how the market behaves. But until such time, I expect it to continue to be very volatile.
Yeah, it's not like there was a love fest going on there between the Democrats and the Republicans before this. Now, maybe we'll get another impeachment, and maybe, what did they say, 34, 35 Supreme Court justices finally? So it's like, 31-4 Democrats. I don't know. Anything's possible at this point. All right, thanks for bringing that up, Greg. You're right. And what does it mean for more stimulus, for coronavirus stimulus? I mean, they're just at each other's throats, right? It's not good. Anyway, can't believe that the death of a Supreme Court justice really does impact the stock market at this point, based on that stimulus. When you connect all the dots. All right, thanks, Virtus. Thanks, Joe. Greg Branch, thank you. We'll see you check back in soon. Becky.